So I'm driving around, going to a thrift store, have limited time, and wanted to, I don't, it's not a tip, but maybe just an idea. If you have a Habitat for Humanity where you live, you might want to go see if they have books. They usually just have furniture, they have like doors, they have sofas, they have cabinets, they have all kinds of random stuff for the house. But I stumbled upon them 6 months ago because I went in to look for something else, that they had books. At least the one closest to where I live has a section for books. It's not that big of a section, and they clearly are not getting lots of donations of books, but they set it up because apparently they were getting enough donations. And I found some books there, nothing for great, big money, but it's definitely worth checking out because maybe the one near where you live has more books than mine does, and better selection. And they're only charging 25 cents a book, so it's a steal. I have some VHS tapes, but nothing worth buying. So check that out if it's a viable option near where you live. I'm not sure how many Habitat for Humanities there are around the country, or if that's just a West Coast thing, but check it out. Another tip, I'm just full of tips today, is this is something I always forget to do, but I know I should know better, is when you go looking at books, pretty much anywhere you go, but when you go to thrift stores, let's say, and you're flipping through a lot of books, you're gonna look through 50, 100 books, maybe more, maybe hundreds of books. Books have a lot of dust on them, and you're gonna get your fingertips and hands really dirty. So you're gonna end up coming back to your car with filthy hands, and if you want to start snacking in the car or touching your face or anything like that, you're probably going to want to bring along some wipes, some hand wipes, to clean off your hands after each sourcing excursion. So that's just a little tip. I, of course, have not been doing that. I keep forgetting to just have some wipes in the car, but one of these days I'll get around to doing it. I should, considering I have baby wipes all over the place at home. But yeah, so just be aware of that. Dirty hands are gonna happen. It's a dirty business. I had limited time today to do some sourcing, so I dashed into a local Goodwill, the Goodwill where I found that video game where I mentioned in a past video. I was able to find 6 different books, and 3 of them fell into 3 different categories, maybe only 2, but be on the lookout for fiction that has hand drawings, usually in color, of warlocks or wizards or things like that. It looks very futuristic. Pardon me for saying this to those that like this type of stuff, but cheesy, silly. I don't know. To me, it's not the kind of stuff I read, but be on the lookout for that kind of stuff. Sometimes it can go for good money because maybe not that many were actually printed, or there's just a very passionate following. That's the thing. If you have a passionate following for some of these books, people are willing to pay whatever the price is, and a lot of times there's not that many copies. So those 2 things combined, a passionate following and limited copies. So be on the lookout for that type of stuff. You might know what I'm talking about. Some of the books tend to be a little bigger, physically bigger. They're a little taller, wider. I don't know. Mostly there's paperback and hardback, but I usually find paperback for the most part. And there's another book I found today, Flash 55 Free Promotions. At first I thought it was some book for MLM, multi-level marketing type of company or something like that, but it turns out it's for nurses, for CLNC, your CLNC practice. But just this kind of cover stood out to me because it's kind of rare. It's very flashy, glossy. The font, the woman sitting there smiling, crossing her leg, that's very unusual. Usually you only see that in self-help type books. This is not what this is. It's not what this is. This has a different vibe. It's very colorful. It's hard to explain, but this just stood out to me And I looked it up, and lo and behold, it's going for decent money. I don't know how to categorize it other than it's sort of flashy, colorful, glossy, super like promotion looking, or sort of over the top, trying to catch your eye, which it did for me. So, this type of stuff kind of stands out. Frequently goes for good money, and this one is going for good money as well. Another thing is often these books are thin. This is relatively thin. I don't know what it is about thinner books that go for good money, but it tends to be the case with a lot of different types of books. Like that book that I found recently on real estate, investing in depressed properties or something like that. That was a thin book as well. I sold a lot of really thin books for a lot of money, so keep that in mind too. There's my growing stash of books and VHS tapes, mostly books. I've been able to get that since last weekend, since I sent out my last shipment. So hopefully I'll hit 100 really soon. It's kind of amazing to me how I can send out so many books and then go out and find so many more. They're plentiful, guys. Books are everywhere, that's for sure. Any of you resellers want to work at Goodwill? They're hiring in my area. The store I visited today has a sign up for retail associates. I don't have the time to do it. Maybe if I didn't have young kids, I would take a part-time job, find out how their system works. Although it's probably not a big deal, not a big mystery. It's not like there's a big conspiracy that Goodwill is somehow holding all of these magical books that they never want to put out. They just put them straight to Amazon and sell them online and make millions and millions of dollars. That's about it. But it might be interesting to work there. Who knows? Maybe somebody, if you have the time, it could be worth it. Who knows? Could just get a look into the inner workings of Goodwill, of a Goodwill retail location, to see if they really do have somebody back there, going through the books and deciding which ones they should put out and which ones they should put aside to either list there or send off to wherever they're listed on Amazon, because Goodwill sells a lot of books on Amazon, and probably thousands a day. It would be interesting to know. So if any of you operatives out there want to go and get a job, definitely let me know. Not that I can get you a job, but maybe you can apply and you can work there, because it appears that, based on my interactions with people, that it doesn't take too many qualifications or a big resume to work at Goodwill. It's probably a tedious job. It's probably they're probably underpaid, which is why many of them seem a bit not always. Definitely there's some that are in good spirits, but it varies, let's just say. But that's any retail spot, really, not just Goodwill. Let's be honest. So, anybody up for it? This was the book I was talking about. That kind of has a, warlock, wizard type guy on the front, also on the back. It just has that feel of kind of futuristic. I don't know how you would describe it, but it's called The Magic Goes Away. So magician type stuff, warlock type stuff, wizard type stuff. It's a bit of a big book. I mean, not that big, but it's a bit tall and wide and whatnot. So this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. If you see something like that, definitely scan it and check it out. Some of them go for decent money. This one's going for decent money. Another one I found was this one, Unfinished Nation. It's for school. It's a school book, not a textbook, I guess. I mean, technically, I guess it is a textbook, but this is starting at about $18. There's a bunch of offers from $18 to $19 something dollars. Got a good rank, selling pretty quick. This is something that'll move pretty fast. It might sell before August, maybe, but definitely sell in August. It's not in that great a shape. You never know. I mean, I got this at Goodwill. I've been going to Goodwill more often, and I think maybe because of my ability to pick out the books to scan, I'm doing a little better at Goodwill. But it's definitely still not that great compared to other thrift stores. At least I can go there and find something at a Goodwill, whether it's a CD or whether it's a book. They seem to be having a little bit better. Either they are having better books, or for me to pick, or I'm just getting better at finding the books to look up and knowing better about what's going to sell. So hopefully it's both of those reasons. because I definitely want to keep Goodwill on the map because there's a lot of them, and they have a lot of. I mean, they're probably getting more donations than any other thrift store in anywhere near where I live. Anyway, it's good to be able to go to a Goodwill and find some valuable or profitable books and other items. I think as you go along with the business, and you're going to get a little more comfortable and familiar with the different types of books that you can find, whether it's a textbook or or a book for school, whether it's a flashy type of glossy book, whether it's a wizardy, warlock, dragon type of magician type of book, whether it's a fiction book with a quality cover. There's just a lot of different types of books, categories that books fall into, to make it a little bit, to kind of cast a larger net, right? To be able to look at books in different categories and pull some profitable ones out. Nonfiction books are always going to be the most profitable, but being able to pull fiction books out and kind of funky books is definitely going to help the bottom line for sure. I didn't get too many books today, but Habitat for Humanity was not very didn't have too many books, and they don't seem to get that many donations, but I got a couple out of there, and then 6 out of Goodwill, and I had to get home quicker today, so I wasn't able to get too many books today, but I've got a good amount going. Got my shipment, or my next shipment, all the way up to over 40 books, and I still got another box to go, and there's ones that I got today. So I should be around 70 books, and go sourcing again later this week, and hopefully be able to break 100 so I can get another shipment out beginning of next week. That would be nice. Because 50 of my books from that big shipment already hit Amazon, and I'm just waiting on the other 200 to arrive in Wisconsin and for those to go live. So that should make a big difference as well. So hopefully you're sourcing out there, listing and shipping. But remember, keep booking.